now, it means today is our big day. Woohoo! We're Nigerian students at the LLM class of 2014 at Harvard Law School.
To be honest, at the beginning of the year, when Dean Mino said that the greatest thing about Harvard is its students, I didn't believe her. But sitting here at this very moment and thinking back, I think that the best moments I spent in this year and the greatest thing which I learned was from each of my friends and each of my classmates at Harvard, each of them with a unique story from a proud land.
I showed up 1L year with a lot to learn. It's fair to say that the learning curve was steep but scalable, mostly because my professors and classmates were so generous with their insights and their passion for the law.
We would meet each other, we would exchange names, we would ask each other where we were from, we'd ask each other what section we were in, and then there would be this pause as both of us thought about what else we should ask each other. And usually one of us would break the silence and ask, well, how are you liking it so far? And over, the other of us would respond like this. We'd make this face and go, you know, it's better than I was expecting. And today, 3 years later, as I reflect on all this, I have to wonder, what on earth were we all expecting? We were expecting to encounter these buttoned down, impersonal, brass personifications of accomplishment. And we were surprised to find that instead, we found heart, we found people.
I will remember many things about my time here at HLS. I will remember walking into my first civil procedure class terrified by the prospect of being on the receiving end of a cold call. I will remember walking into my first launch talk terrified by the prospect of there being no more Felipe's burritos left for me to eat.
One of our former deans, Derek Bach, has a quote printed up on the wall in Wasserstein Hall, and it reads, "There's far too much law for those who can afford it, and far too little for those who cannot." Harvard Law School taught us to recognize this problem and to challenge it, and to fix it in our courtrooms, in businesses and law firms.
The single most transformative experience I've had here as a student at Harvard Law School was flying into Austin, Texas, joining up with the Texas Defender Service, and starting to represent a client who had essentially exhausted all his appeals and was scheduled for execution within 90 days. Turns out, our client was convicted on science that has since been discredited. It's called junk science. So through our collective work, we were able to get a stay of execution. During that time, Texas passed a new law, Senate Bill 344, which enabled our client to get a new hearing before the court, requesting a review on this evidence of actual innocence. So here we are, 2 years later, our client's still alive, and he has a chance to demonstrate his innocence. So the opportunity to work in this type of collaborative environment, on this type of high-stakes legal problem, has just been emblematic of what Harvard Law School has taught me, its role in the community, and what it's equipped me to do going forward.
As Dr. King reminded us in his letter from a Birmingham jail, fighting for a cause is so much easier when you have genuine allies standing there with you. My upbringing in Boston's Mattapan neighborhood, a lovely and low-income community, which I have had the pleasure of serving as a student attorney in the Harvard Legal Aid Bureau, has impressed upon me the gravity of the unfinished work we have to do. Underperforming schools, high foreclosure rates, endless evictions, untapped potential, and loving families like my own. I've been inspired by my classmates who have stood as genuine allies in their representation of Mattapan residents. One of my favorite sayings from this year's Freedom Seder is, "It is not incumbent upon you to finish the task, but neither are you free to absolve yourself from it."
Let me tell you a story of a man who made my commencement possible a long time ago. I do not even know his name. Widowed at the age of 28, my grandmother applied for an overseas child support program. Under the program, her daughter, which is my mom, was paired up with a USA sponsor parent. He sent her money every month until she became 18. It was just a few dollars, but it contributed to my mom's education. On hearing that, I always felt I'm obligated to pay that forward so that more children in the world would live with what they deserve. I focused my study at Harvard on children's rights and international law. I have 2 sponsored children in Cambodia and Philippines, and also visited Nepali and Brazilian communities which receive education aid. A small generosity that my family received 40 years ago is now about to give birth to a children's certificate.
Once, while conducting legal research, I noticed my last name in a 1944 case, Schwab versus Coleman. The petitioner turned out to be Rabbi Simon Schwab, my great-grandfather, who passed away when I was 10. As a Jew, he was forced to flee Nazi Germany, but the federal district court considered him an enemy alien and deferred judgment on his naturalization request. My great-grandfather petitioned the U.S. Court of Appeals to issue a writ of mandamus, an exceedingly rare legal device, to compel the district judge to issue a decision. The 4th District ruled in his favor, and he became an American citizen. This landmark case is now cited in treatises and legal encyclopedias. But to me, the opinion was more than just legal precedent. When I read the judge's reference to Nazi persecution and his description of the petitioner as a man of good moral character, it wasn't mere justification for the legal conclusion. That was my great-grandfather he was talking about. This was a real story about real people. But so is every other case.
As lawyers, we have the unique opportunity to tell a person's story. In sharing these stories, I hope we get closer to sharing what is true in the world. I hope we give a voice to those who have been silenced. I hope we defend righteous laws and challenge rancid ones. And while we work to share our clients' stories, I hope we do not forget to live out our own.
There are good people doing great work here, trying to bring justice to those who need it most, serving the underserved, and challenging the status quo on every legal problem imaginable. There are professors, attorneys, and students who are finding new ways to solve old problems.
My father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I took a leave of absence to help care for him. It was a difficult time, and it would have been easy for my classmates to fade into the background, to mumble platitudes and go back to fixing footnotes and spotting issues and reasoning from precedent, the things that law school formally values. But they didn't. Instead, HLS students came out of the woodwork to shower my family and me with support, kindness, and friendship. It's because of that community that I sit here with you today, watching my dad watch me earn our family's first graduate degree.
One of the best takeaways from Harvard Law School is that you learn not only in class and extracurricular activities, but you learn from each other. I am grateful that I'm taking away not just the law school degree, but friends for life.
I will remember the vigil we held for Troy Davis, the vigil we held and the hoodies we wore for Trayvon Martin after his death. I will remember the visit to campus by Trayvon's mother and the visit to campus by Tyrese Allen Davis. These are the experiences that I will carry with me day in and day out. For it was these experiences that informed me that there is still a lot of work to be done, that the law in its application is still not perfect, and that it's up to students such as ourselves to make the law what it should and can be.
I'm grateful for all the friends I made, from Section 7 to the parody, and then there's those kids who raised their hands in class. I wish them well too.
We came from various corners of the world for one of the best and the most challenging years of our lives. I am confident that each and every one of us will take back their experience for the benefit of their countries.
I am honored to have joined the warm and welcoming Harvard Law School family, an eclectic and distinguished bunch, to whom I can forever turn to share inspiration, seek guidance, and cherish friendship. Harvard Law has trained us in compassion alongside legal analysis. So let's not forget the people behind the docket.
As we sit here experiencing the extreme privilege of graduating from Harvard Law School, may we not be daunted by the unfinished work we have yet to do. This degree demands more of us.
This marks the end of a very awesome year for us, and we have
our God, families, parents,
our friends,
classmates, and the entire HLS community to thank for this.
HLS has not heard the last of us. Woo!